7 addresses before you turned 30. Your mother had one. Her mother had one. People counted your moves the way they count mistakes, and you let them. Correcting them takes energy you would rather spend on the road. Here is what they missed. You were never running from anything. You still remember the smell of cardboard boxes and morning coffee in an empty apartment. So what was the moving toward tonight? We answer it. Start with the word they used. Flighty, flaky, a free spirit. Said with a small smile. The kind of smile people use when they think they are describing a phase. Your family waited for you to settle. Employers waited for you to commit. Men waited for you to calm down. Everyone waited, in their own chairs. Everyone stood around your life like people waiting for a kettle, certain the whistling would stop. It never fully stopped. You are past 50 now, and something in you still checks the horizon. Go back to where it started. You were a latchkey kid. You came home to an empty house, made your own snack, invented your own afternoon. Nobody structured your time, so you learned to structure it yourself. And then you learned something better. You learned it did not always need structure. Freedom was not a theory in your childhood. It was 4 unsupervised hours a day. While other generations were scheduled into lessons and leagues, you rode past the neighborhood's edge, testing how far you could go and still make it back before the streetlights. And you were watching the women, the mothers on your street with their one address. Their unchanging kitchens. Their one view from the sink for 40 years. Some of them were content. Some of them were buried alive and polite about it. You could not have said which was which at 9 years old. But you felt the difference in their voices, and you never forgot it. And you made a quiet vow without words, whatever happened in your life. The walls would not close in without a fight, not on you. So you built a life with exits. Look at how it shows up, even now. You sit facing the door in restaurants. You keep the gas tank above half. You know which job you would quit, which town you would try, which spare room you could land in if everything fell apart tomorrow. Other women keep emergency funds. You keep emergency futures instead, fully stocked. A friend once opened your closet and laughed, because half of it fit in one suitcase. And the suitcase sat where anyone else would store a wedding dress. You changed jobs when the ceiling appeared, changed cities when the streets went stale. You changed your mind in public without apology, more than once. You loved hard and left cleanly, every single time, without exception. You tried the settled life once or twice, painted the walls, planted the garden, and felt the specific ache begin, the one nobody around you seemed to feel. The sense of a window slowly closing somewhere behind you. People called it commitment issues. It was closer to oxygen management. Now name what it cost, because it cost plenty. The world is built for people who stay. Pensions reward staying. Property rewards staying. The whole ledger rewards staying. Friendships reward staying, and reputations are built by people who remain in one room. They stay long enough to collect them, year after settled year. You watched classmates buy houses that tripled in value while you were somewhere on a coast, being alive. You did the math at 3 a.m. more than once. The math never favored you. Freedom has terrible interest rates, and you signed for them anyway. There were harder costs. Being the one who left means being the one who is easy to blame. Every family has a story about you, told at tables you were not at. She could never sit still. She missed the funeral because she was in another state. She always thought she was too good for this town. Nobody tells the other version, the one where you were the only person brave enough to walk out and see what the world held past the town line. And there were nights, be honest, in a new city with no one to call, when the freedom felt exactly like the loneliness it was accused of being. You never admitted those nights to the people waiting for you to fail. You absorbed them, packed them, and moved on, quietly, every single time. Proving them right was the one place you refused to travel. Then midlife arrived, and the world flipped its judgment without apologizing. The same people who called you unstable started calling you brave. Divorced friends asked, quietly, how you built a life that did not collapse when one person left it. Women who did everything right sat across from you at lunch, rotating their coffee cups, saying, "I do not even know what I like anymore." And you realized something you had never put into words before. You had spent 30 years finding out exactly what you like. The moving was never random. Every address was a question. Do I like the ocean? Do I like the desert? Do I like myself in a small town, in a big city, alone, in love? 7 addresses, 7 answers, one for every question worth asking. The settled women were not wrong. They made a different bet, and some of them won it. But nobody gets to call your bet reckless anymore. Nobody at all. You bet you would rather know yourself than own yourself. You collected selves the way they collected equity, steadily, year over year. Here is the psychology underneath it, said plainly, without decoration. A free spirit is not a woman without roots, hear it plainly. She is a woman who roots in herself instead of in a location. You learned early, in those empty afternoon houses, to be your own home. So every move was not an uprooting. It was a house moving with its resident inside. This is why the changes never broke you the way people predicted. The diagnosis, the layoffs, the endings, you grieved them. But you did not dissolve. Because your foundation was never in the thing you lost. Watch the difference now, at this age, in room after room. When life takes something from women who anchored everything in one structure, the ground opens. When life takes something from you, you pack, calmly, the same night. You have practiced beginnings your whole life. Most people only ever practiced middles. And notice what never left you. You still read maps for pleasure. You still feel the pull in airports, watching departure boards flip, every city a door. You still drive the long way home on purpose, most evenings. A certain kind of song in the car still makes your chest expand. The road song, the one that smells like wind and gas stations, and 1987. The girl on the bike past the edge of the neighborhood never dismounted. She is in there right now, checking the horizon, keeping the tank above half. So here is your permission, though you never waited for permission in your life. You do not have to settle now to prove the wandering meant something. There is no age where a woman must finally park. If you want to sell the house at 56 and live smaller and lighter, do it. If you want to stay put now, stay because staying finally feels like a choice. A choice, and never a surrender, chosen fresh each morning. The point was never motion. Motion was only ever the method. The point was that every single arrangement of your life was chosen, on purpose, by you. And it still gets to be, tonight and every night after. Restlessness at your age is not a crisis, whatever anyone says. Sometimes it is simply the truest part of you, tapping softly at the glass. Asking what it asked at 9, how far, and still home before the streetlights. And maybe you never make peace with the people who counted your addresses like mistakes. Their count was correct. Their conclusion was wrong. Completely wrong. 7 addresses did not make you homeless. Not for one day. They made you the only woman you know who is at home everywhere, including, finally, in herself. So tonight, count them again, all 7 slowly, one by one. Each one a room where you found out something the stairs never learned. Not a scattered life, a wide one, wide as you needed. Sit with that, if you want. I will sit with it too. We do not have to figure out the rest tonight.